Of the videotape resulted in the conviction of two men on extortion charges. One of them was Frank Schweiz, known in syndicate circles as the German, a feared mob terrorist and a suspect in a number of gangland murders.
He was described to me by other outfit individuals as the most feared hitman. And as he said to me, my reputation precedes me, son.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Adam Flowers and myself. Here we are on June 29th, 2022. And hey, Greg, how you doing? Party on.
Red?
How you doing? Party on.
What? Do you hear an echo, Red?
Yes.
Red?
Can they hear me?
No, what's going on?
Yes. I didn't sign out of StreamYard.
Oh, no, I know something. I know what's happening. Don't worry. I know what's happening. No, I know what's happening. I know what's going on.
I know something. I know what's happening.
Okay, we should be okay now.
Am I okay?
So sorry, Red. So sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me. You can't broadcast and watch at the same time. I accidentally, because I was grabbing the link to put in the after party, I had the video open. Hey, that's happened to me once before. So, my God.
You're a repeat offender.
Yes. I've done that once before. I remember I did that once before. But it's good. Everybody's coming in here. Everybody from Ryan Brown, Sonny Zaro, Greg Bradshaw, Julie M., Rhonda Moretti. Hello, Rhonda. Greg Polly, Golf Boy, Sean Pender, Kevin Witt Jr., everybody. Lowe's Vegas is even here. Lowe's Vegas. So, Red, New York, Chicago. New York, Chicago. Was there?
They weren't the same. I just the same as the mafia groups weren't the same. If you want to call them mafia. In Chicago, we didn't call it the mafia. You never said the word mafia in Chicago. Even back when I was a kid, they called it the syndicate. They didn't say mafia. They didn't say anything about that. Outfit was kind of in the 70s. It became the outfit. It was a term that was used by Capone way back when, but a lot of people used to call it the crime syndicate in Chicago. New York, it was always called our thing or our family or whatever. It had something to do with individuals. New York had 5 families. We were consolidated in Chicago, and we had one boss, and we had different crews. And we had also had a lot more territory. We covered a lot more territory than New York did. While they were fighting in the boroughs amongst each other, Chicago was expanding and going west. And they expanded west too, but they didn't do as much as Chicago in comparison. They kind of had enough to milk in their own backyard, but they fought a lot. They killed a lot too. One family, they had wars, the banana wars.
Right.
They had a whole family try to wipe out another family. We never had one crew in Chicago try to wipe out another crew. It just never happened.
Wait. What about when Tony Accardo's house was robbed?
I don't know of anybody that got robbed in New York, but
I know.
Those were individuals. They weren't a whole crew.
I thought you said a whole crew got wiped out after that Accardo robbery.
No, I said a bunch of burglary crews, not from say Grand Avenue or Chicago Heights.
Gotcha. I got it. A burglary group of guys that
Right.
are robbing.
Right,
Okay.
but there was never a family, never a crew like the
Got
Grand Avenue crew would have a fight with somebody up in the north end or south side or Cicero crew or something like that. It just didn't happen that way.
That didn't happen.
No.
Everybody worked together.
Yes.
Instead of
It was more organized to me. To me, it was much more organized.
See, but it didn't start that way. If you go back to Capone days,
No.
Banyans and all different Irish gang, Italian gang, everybody was working against each other. Maybe they learned their lesson back then and were like, you know what, all that's going to happen is St. Valentine's Day Massacre over and over and over unless we work together.
Well, Capone was the one that came up with that. He said, he asked people to join him. And then when they said no, they refused, and they try and wipe each other out, like O'Bannon, whatever. Or, they did. They had their wars. But he said now he wanted it to be one outfit, and that's what he called it, my outfit, one outfit. And it didn't have the distinction of being only Italian people. You could be Polish, you could be Greek, you could be all different things.
I'm so sorry. I was putting one of Julie M's comments up, and I just put you in timeout for 5 minutes by accident. I'm so sorry, Julie. I did not mean to do that. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Please forgive me. I clicked the wrong button as I was in it. It put her in timeout. I'm sorry. I was going to ask the question. Now I don't even remember what the question was. I can't even ask the damn question. Oh, she said it was a comment. She said New York was a hot mess.
It was. It was.
The fact they could never prove who was the actual boss of the Chicago outfit is proof enough as to who was smarter and more organized. Yeah, there you go. Right? There you go.
Very much so. Nobody ever proved anything. I mean, Paul Ricca was the boss. Going back, Frank Nitti was the boss. What's his name? Joey. Not Joey. Joey Upa was boss, but the real boss was Tony Accardo. But nobody ever proved it. No, and that's also, they've never done any movies about that. Tony Accardo.
Right.
And just something may interest you folks about Tony Accardo is that I have my own opinion. And my opinion is the reason they've never done any movies about Tony Accardo, is because he still has family around, and they're not poor.
No,
and those family, no, and
this is like a
they're
great
in legitimate businesses and things like that.
Is it a great grandson that's the NFL player?
Two of them.
Oh no, really? Two of them are on?
Yeah. So it just never will be. It's never going to happen.
You don't think so, huh?
I don't think so. I don't think New York has ever had anybody excel in the business world like Chicago has. As far as being an NFL player or a celebrity or something like that.
Don Ciccio, the Italians decided to make territories. Each crew did not infringe on the other. Chicago Heights had up to 95th Street. It worked quite well. See?
And went to Oak Lawn.
So Don Berlin, Chicago had crews versus New York had families. But ironically, Chicago outfit got started by people from New York. But you know what? Everything in Chicago got started from the people in New York, Don, when you think about it. Because as they all settled on the East Coast, and then they said, the poverty in New York and the cold.
It's getting crowded here. Let's go west.
let's go west, and we'll go to Chicago, and where it's even worse and cold, and and we'll settle there. So everything kind of came from New York, right?
I'm assuming some of New York went to Detroit, and some of New York went to Cleveland.
Sure, but it had to all exported out of New York, right? Or you know what? Actually, what's that about it coming in from New Orleans as well?
That's a fact,
right?
A lot of people, but most of those people went to New York. They immigrated through New Orleans because it was easy to get in, like going through Canada. But New Orleans was a big port at that time, and they had a lot of immigration. They came in, and usually people went right up to New York.
Yeah. Yeah. See, so Trace, Mr. Wemette, did that go on in the early 50s? The outfit tricked Chicagoans to eating horse meat since the beef cost was 4 times as much? We've covered this in the past.
Yes, it really went on. As a matter of fact, I was in a restaurant one time in the 70s, and I said, this steak tastes funny. And actually, Kurt was with me, Kurt Hansen, and somebody else was with me. And I was later told after I ate it that it was horse meat.
Oh my gosh. After you ate it. You know what that happened to me? That happened to me when I was in Georgia. I was invited to a party, a little house party, get together. It's when I was a kid. We went on a Disney cruise, the family. Anyway, long story short, we're at this family's house that we met on the cruise ship. And on our way to Chicago, we stopped off there and they invited us to their house for dinner and they wanted us to have a Southern style, whatever spread. And there was these chicken nuggets, and I was standing there and I was eating these chicken nuggets. The sauce they were dipping in was good, and the guys, their names. I don't know if I can say. Should I say their names? Does it matter? I think his name. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the dad, he said to me, he said, "Liking them mountain oysters, are you?" And I'm like, "What the hell's a mountain oyster, right?" So I mean,
Rocky Mountain Elch.
chicken nugget, right? And then I looked at my dad and I said, "Dad, what's a mountain oyster?" I'm like 12 or 13 years old. What's a mountain oyster? Oh man, I ate a whole tray of those things, man, before they told me. I was like, "What? No."
Chances are, if they wouldn't have told you, you wouldn't have cared.
Probably wouldn't have. Okay, but no.
Yes, Julian.
So, Julienne, pig nuts, or goat nuts, or anyway. Don Ciccio. Mafia started in Sicily. First mafia was in N.O., New Orleans. N.O. So,
Yes,
right. That's what I see.
that's back in the 1800s.
We have a guest that we're going to have coming on. I got to read a book before we have him on, but he's an instructor. I spoke with him. He's a retired police officer who specialized in organized crime and is now retired and teaches. He's a professor. And anyway, very interesting guy. And he has a book out. I got to read the book. But in the book, he basically says that the organized crime in the country wasn't just all from Sicily or happened all because of Sicily, that the politicians and the politics involved that let it happen. So there's a twist on it. Anyway, Don Berlin, I read, I forgot to thank you for your book. Took it on the C-17 to our base in Poland and could not put it down. Made for a long flight, became a very short ride. Thanks.
I'm glad you had a good flight, Don.
Everyone buy it. Wow. Poland. That's where my ancestors are from.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
I'm glad you had a good and safe flight with what's going on over there now.
it's a good read. So, one thing in common, Bobby Bag of Donuts, I believe, is Sammy the Bull and Frank Collada weren't hurt so bad by the guys they respected and loved, like John Gotti and Tony Spilotro. Neither one would have become informants.
I agree.
Frank would right now argue that he wasn't an informant. He was a government witness.
Cooperating witness.
Government witness. He never wore a wire, so he would argue that. I know he would. So I'm just throwing that out there. My wife's grandmother was from Sicily. Had to cut his last name short before he came to the U.S. Sean Pender. A lot of people did. Their names had to be cut short. So, that's where that they've changed them. Like Kwiatkowski became Flowers because somehow Kwiatkowski means a gardener or something. So in Polish, I don't know. John Calgeros, would you guys agree the Godfather movie was the beginning of the end for the mafia in this country? Well,
No.
Interesting. Why would we think that it was the beginning of the end?
Even Casino wasn't the beginning of the end. It was still going around.
Well, I don't know. Is it really? I mean, is it fair to even say that the movie? I mean, the times were changing at that point too, weren't they? I mean,
Very much so.
cameras are starting to show up everywhere. DNA starting to be discovered and known about. All those things that fought organized crime, right?
The RICO Act.
The RICO Act.
Racketeering, RICO Act.
Right.
1972, the same year that they made the Godfather,
You
the
know,
RICO Act. So they didn't really use it until the late 70s.
you always say that the mob was at their pinnacle of power in the 60s and 70s in Chicago. The outfit, okay, was the pinnacle of power at that era. But was it? Because maybe the 20s, 30s, 40s, you know what I mean, when they first were getting there and starting everything, they were
Prohibition and everything. Al Capone himself was making $1 million a year
that whole era,
in 1928. He
that
was
might
making $1 million a year.
biggest power, at that point. They had to have been bigger then. Rico was the end. Don Ciccio, yes.
I agree.
Rico. Yeah. So in the beginning, the end was Rico. Jim Magnifici said technology advancements and the technology advancements. Yeah, it was, that's, can't do things the same. Now cyber crimes, there's all kinds of other
That's
things.
the number one. That's the number one threat.
Yeah. And, and it's, I was just told something like the DOD gets something like 15,000 attacks a day, cyber attacks, the Department of Defense.
Well, they're also trying to help us. They're hiring people to actually help not only the government officials or our agencies or whatever, our politicians, but they're trying to help us too. They don't want to cut down on cyber crimes like somebody taking your password on your Google account or somebody taking whatever that belongs to you.
Right. And, and the chances of that happening, you can go get your McAfee virus or whatever, but anonymity, just that you know what I mean?
Everything about you, your address, your phone number, everything.
Yeah, but it's just, why would they want to? They wanted, if I was going to do some anyway. So surveillance everywhere, Scott, you're right. Hello, Adam and Red, Mr. Fugazi. It's great to join this conversation. The outfit under Rika, Accardo, and Humphreys was much tighter than New York ever was, boys.
Definitely was.
Yeah. So, Don Ciccio di Porzalo, Enrico, you need to prove nothing, just conspiracy between three people.
Wrong. Two people. Two people.
Just
two people constitutes a conspiracy. It takes two to conspire, not three. I know that from being in court.
Okay, hold on. RICO, which stands for Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, a U.S. law enacted in 1970 allowing victims of organized crime to sue those responsible for punitive damages.
Right. Bobby Kennedy, I believe, chaired that committee.
It's designed to combat organized crime in the U.S. RICO.
Look up conspiracy. How many people does it take to make a conspiracy? Two. That's it.
Okay.
Two constitutes a conspiracy. It doesn't take three. Only two.
So
if I conspire with you to do something that's against the law,
yeah,
we can be charged with racketeering if it's over state lines, if it breaks the federal law.
All right, the RICO of 70 seeks to strengthen the legal tools in evidence gathering by establishing a new penal probations and providing enhanced sanctions and new remedies for dealing with the unlawful activities of those engaged in organized crime. Okay.
I'm going to look right now. How many people?
The First Amendment Encyclopedia, RICO attempts to fight organized crime using illegal income to acquire, establish, or operate an enterprise, acquiring an interest such as an enterprise, and using an enterprise to collect the debt. Just do an episode on what the hell RICO is, and what that all means. I'm going to go over to some comments, guys. R. Kelly was convicted on RICO and was sent. Just got 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay, it says right here that it's a criminal conspiracy with 2 or more people. And Wikipedia.
it takes Hillary Clinton to make a conspiracy, Red.
Yeah, doesn't feel.
Brady's funny. All right. So, the big Kevin Witt Jr. Big difference between Chicago and New York was I don't think Chicago hierarchy was exposed until after the fact, whereas all New York 5 bosses were identified while in power. That's a good point too, right?
Chicago laid real low.
They didn't know until after.
Not for sure. They didn't know
Right,
who was at the top.
See, that's so who's more clever, right? More devious. So
More profitable. Chicago moved west.
U.S. Army Cyber Command in Fort Meade intercepts and defeats 23,000 cyber attacks per day against the DoD and the IC. And we only have to be wrong once to have catastrophic results. Jeez, man, that's pretty. So the somebody I had on the tour the other day gave me that information that I said the 15,000, whatever it was, attacks on it. I thought to myself, that's crazy. And it's not somebody sitting in New Guinea on their computer. It's like organized groups of people in different countries that are paid by the government, that are smart as hell, that sit there and go, what are we going to try and get into today? What are we going to go after? So the chances of them going after you or me is probably just anonymity. We're nobodies. So why would they want to? So, Anyway, let's get back to some comments, huh? Even the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover denied the existence of the mafia until that meeting in upstate New York.
Appalachia.
All the mafia heads that got together, national attention, proved otherwise.
I believe that was 1957.
57, huh? Wow. You mentioned a second barrel found at Lake Mead. Was the first body identified? No, the first body trace is not identified. They think it's Johnny Pappas.
I do anyway.
There was a second barrel found. There was no body in it. And then there was also just a body found. So that was a swimmer. Somebody who was out there that drowned swimming. Or there's actually a list. I saw a list from a Review Journal article was written back in 2000, and maybe it was in the 90s, but it showed everybody who'd gone missing out at Lake Mead, drowning, boat accident, this, that. There's a long list. So if that thing ever dries up, there's gonna be a lot of bodies showing up. The people drowned. I'm serious. They're going to find more. They will.
Who knows what they're going to find if it all dries up?
That's what I mean. It's crazy. There's too about Vegas being greedy and this town running on greed, and what did you say that Tony said to you about the St. Michael's horns come, or St. Christopher's horns blow? Bodies are going to rise up out of the desert.
Oh no, that was Irv Weiner told me that. He said when Gabriel blows his horn, he said I wouldn't want to be standing here because a lot of bodies are going to come out of the desert.
See? So, I was thinking about that the other day and going, well, like 10 miles out of town, that's now Summerlin. Okay. 10 miles out of town, that's Henderson. When they started developing those areas, contractors got time and money, and they started going over and grading the ground and everything. I heard they had found bodies, but they didn't
report them.
No, because then you got the cops out there. You got to shut your job site down. So they just went, that's where the driveway is, right? Whoa. I'm serious, man.
That's where the street's going to be.
That's what I heard. Yeah, the street Perfect.
Scott says that he remembers Frank Collada saying if there was a war between New York and Chicago, Chicago would win. I have to tell you, Scott H., that was something that I suggested to Frank Schweiss. I said, maybe it's somebody from New York bothering me. And he turned around and stood up and said, are you kidding me, Red? He said, if somebody comes in here from New York, they get their ass kicked. There wouldn't be a war. It'd be over in 2 seconds. They wouldn't last here. So that was the general consensus of everyone.
I'm reading this comment. So Don Berlin, Scott, you're correct. Just the USDI, the DCSA Cyber Mission Center in Quantico intercepts hundreds, and that's just for one agency.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. They found a lot of bodies in the sewers back in the day out here. Bobby Bag of Donuts, he's from around here, but found a lot of bodies in the sewers. Wow. That's crazy. It's crazy.
It wasn't a unique disposal, but, it was.
Well, you got to do something with it, right?
Yeah. I got to do something with it. Cindy Workman, Cindy, she agrees with Frank, and so do I.
That's what that John Wayne Gacy thought, too. First,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I got to do something with this. What
What are you doing it now?
You know what? I could do that again. Oh my gosh. Outfit is not as big, but Island Lake is active. RV Doc, outfit is not as big as it was, but Island Lake is active. What's Island Lake? What's that mean?
I don't know. He's up in the chain of lakes, though. So it may be something up in Wisconsin. I don't know.
Adam and Red was just the outfit who used barrels to get rid of bodies, or all of the mob. I read stories about barrels up in New York being found, right?
I also heard about it in Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit, yeah.
That was very common when they were going over the lake or going to Canada with whiskey. If they wanted to get whiskey in or something like that, what they do is cement over shoes or a barrel or whatever.
Oh man, I know. Don Berlin, Scott, correct. OPM disaster is what caused the stand up of the DCSA, which took over all of the OPM mission and turned it into HR org, into a military organization.
Don, you've gone through Alphabet City here.
Now USDI. I don't know what any of that means. I'm just reading it, but I don't know what it means at all.
Well, it's up there for other people to read later on.
Corn pops in. He wants to know if Jimmy Hoffa's in the Kmart shoes. I doubt it. Really doubt it. Okay, so Rick Charlton, we were pushing brush in 1972, and a body came up with a huge mesquite tree roots in it, was about 4 feet, but was full-grown something, not completely human or deformed. Really? It was about 4. Hold on. It was about 4 feet, but it was full-grown something, not completely human or deformed. So you think you come across an alien, a dead alien under a mesquite tree?
I don't know. I do know this. When I lived in Sarasota.
Was that here in town, Rick? I'm just wondering. Yeah.
When I lived in Sarasota, one street over from me, they were putting in a swimming pool. And that used to be an Indian burial ground. And they found bones, and they called the police. They took the whole street, blocked it off, knocked down all the houses on that street.
Yeah.
They took it away, eminent domain.
Right.
Took it away from the people, and they started excavating. And after that, where I lived, I was saying, if I find anything, I'm not reporting it to nobody. They're not taking my house.
Kevin Witt Jr. Yes, I did get a chance to watch that whole thing on Peacock and all six parts. I found it fascinating. Thanks for telling me about it again, because I found that whole Vegas connection of John Wayne Gacy was in there. That seemed pretty worthwhile. The whole thing. Anyway,
Scott has a good point here, and I've thought of this myself, Scott. They offer you identity theft. They want everything about you, and they know everything about you, and then you're in their database. They have all your credit card numbers. They know everything about you. It's in their database for identity theft. So all they got to do is break their database, and they know everything about you.
Yeah.
Don,
So- Not many people realize the 5 boroughs of New York are huge, almost like 5 Chicagos. Their 5 families still probably have thousands of members and associates, and many young ones from the old country. So that's
Chicago may be small. Chicago may be small itself, the city of Chicago, but you're talking about all of Cook County, Will County, DuPage County, Lake County. I mean, these places, they expanded. So I don't know. I'm not familiar that much with the boroughs, how big it is.
I
I
didn't know.
know that Brooklyn is not as big as, let's say, Chicago.
Huh.
So that's kind of a little bit, you know.
So that's interesting, because you really don't think about it that way. But I guess if they were that big, then that makes sense. That they're. How could there be that many different, in Chicago? Anyway, Rick Charlton. It was in Texas. It was some kind of human, but it was thousands of years old. Yeah. So it wasn't an alien, but thousands of years old.
Well, it might have been caveman or Neanderthal man or whatever.
Hey, what's that one guy that they found? They gave him a name. He was found up in the ice. Yeah, he's got a name. It starts with an O. It's like he was killed. They could tell how he was killed, everything. But he's like the oldest known human specimen. What do they
I
call
believe that was up in Finland or somewhere. It was up in that area.
Yeah, they study him. They made replicas of him. Oldest
He's an Neanderthal,
person dead.
and they did give him a name.
Found. The Iceman. Yeah, there was someone there. What is the name of that guy?
How about some of our listeners? Anybody know?
Octocucus? No. Yeah, I can't remember the
Octopus? Whatever. No, let me see.
Octocucus. No, I don't think that's it. Otzi, that's it. Otzi. Thanks, Michael Graham. Otzi is what they call him. Otzi. Yes, Otzi. The 1991, a frozen human body estimated to be 5,300 years old was discovered at the Haljabak Pass in the Utstal Alps. The so-called Iceman was the oldest intact mummy ever discovered. Thanks.
So it's in the Alps.
Switzerland.
Yes.
William Kirchmayr is right. Yeah. What's the topic of next week's show? Outfit boss. Well, I don't know. I ask Red that all the time. What is it, Red? Oh yeah.
I don't know yet. We'll let you announce it. We'll put some reminders up.
We don't know. We'll find out though. Yeah. I thought that was a card game. No, Yahtzee.
Yeah.
He had a sister named Yahtzee. Yahtzee and Otzi from Switzerland.
Trade talks about this mammoth. Mammoth.
Frozen baby mammoth. Yes.
And the Yukon. In
Right.
Chicago, out Judge Sam Perry had in his yard, and he lived in the suburbs. In his yard, he was a federal judge in Chicago, and they found a mastodon, what they call a mastodon. It was like an elephant, right?
Uh-huh.
And he got to keep, because it was found on his property, he got to keep one of the tusks, and he had it in his chambers. And I saw it in his chambers, and I said, "What is that?" And he was so proud of that thing. He used to talk about, like, oh, they found it on my home, when they put it in the pool. That was prehistoric. It went back like, I don't know, it was prehistory. It was like over 3,000 years old.
Okay, so I've never heard of this, Rick Charlton. Look up Rockwall, Texas. They can't explain it. It's as old as the pyramids. And I looked up Rockwall, Texas, unexplained. Ancient ruins beneath the Texas mysterious rock wall of Rockwall, Texas. What? I've never heard of this. Image courtesy of the rock wall. Man-made or natural feature, 40 feet in height. Wow, they were discovered in 1852. Interesting, Rick. See, that's what I love about this. That's what I love about doing this show with you, Red. Always learning stuff. Always learning new things. Yes.
Well, I didn't know this.
There's an ongoing lawsuit over that Otzi Iceman body between countries because it was found near a border.
Right.
Oh, there.
It was up in the mountains. Do you think they do surveys up there? In the Alps?
Where exactly is... Oh, wow.
I would assume that they can use a GPS and tell which country it's in from the GPS.
You would think so, like there's where it was located, there's where it is, Can't be that hard. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button. Smash
Please,
it.
folks. I need help.
That was 90 people, almost up to 100 in here right now.
Okay.
That's
what
good.
if Chicago had 3 crime families instead of 1? I don't know. We could what if until the moon flies over,
What if? What if, Benny? What if? Mastodon is a heavy metal band from Georgia. Mastodon. He was found frozen for that time. He wasn't mummified. The ice preserved him. He still had his last meal in his stomach, guys. That's right. They still had his last meal, Otzi, in his stomach. So they knew exactly what he ate. They knew based on what he had with him that he was probably fleeing attackers. The whole deal. I mean, it's pretty interesting. I watched a show on that Otzi. So frozen guy.
Misty says frozen dead guys are finders keepers.
It's union rules. That's hilarious.
Thank you, Misty. Thank you for the comment.
Frozen dead guys. What was it? It was a person. Corn Pop. So, was he eating Chicago beef? No, he wasn't eating Chicago beef. He had some kind of grains or something, if I remember right.
Here we got another what if. What if Al Capone had stayed in New York?
What? Oh,
Dumbo? I have no idea.
What if? Oh, man.
The what if questions are very hard to answer.
What? I see Mastodon in Madison a while back. Is it really a band? I thought it was an animal.
Well, it's a prehistoric animal. It's like an elephant.
Well,
very similar, but the band was named after it, after the preacher.
Okay.
Just like the band Chicago was named after the city Chicago. It used to be CTA.
You're telling me they named the band Chicago after the city Chicago?
Yes, because it used to be the CTA. It used to be CTA, Chicago Transit Authority, and they sued. The Chicago Transit Authority said, we own this, like you own the copyright on your channel. The city said, we own this. So they named it Chicago because there was a Chicago Indian tribe. There's a city of Chicago. Chicago's been used so much, it's a name that was open. So they named the band, and then they copyrighted the band name. Very clever. Pete Chiavarelli did that. Pete Chiavarelli's the one that did that.
I always thought it was the other way around. I thought they named the city after the band, Red.
That did not go over.
Oh man! Wow, if Capone has stayed in New York, Geraldo Rivera would have found stuff in his vaults. Geraldo going through those walls one
I'll
after
never forget
another.
that.
The hallway right next to it. Could have walked down the hallway into the room. No, we're gonna
Oh,
go.
the trick of the camera. The trick of the camera. Just keep the
Oh my
camera going
God.
over here.
What a jeez. Yeah. All right, here we go, Mr. Fugazi. Back to the what ifs. If Capone had stayed in New York, he would have gone nowhere. It was Torrio that made Capone as successful as he was. All right, but the what ifs really were speculation, guys.
He would have been a minnow in a sea, but in Chicago he was a big fish.
So the New York guys like to say that they were a lot stronger than Chicago, maybe with all 5 families. But I read that the outfit was stronger than any 2 New York families, and Chicago had a longer reach.
I don't know where you read it. I don't know about the strength, but the longer reach is there.
Right. They definitely were tentacled out to Detroit, Milwaukee, St. Louis.
I'm sure whoever wrote that is a speculation on, the 2 New York families, because I'm sure that one of the New York, it depended on the New York family. One's got to be stronger than the other one. They all weren't equal in strength. They wouldn't have had so many wars between them.
Yeah, Paul Clinton, are you doing anything exciting with Frank's story? Yeah, Paul, I heard from Joe the other day that the script is in a director's hands, and she's very excited.
They're reviewing it.
Mm-hmm. Rhonda Moretti, if Capone would have stayed in New York, Johnny Russo would still be an idiot. Now that's the fact.
I forgot about that guy.
That's the fact. Oh man, you guys! Oh, there you go. What's for dinner? What's for dinner? I'm making burgers. I know David Grimpy's having burgers too. He said something on the last show about making burgers. But yeah, I gotta fire up the grill tonight. I promised Allie. Hey, we had 10,000 bees in our backyard this morning. I had to have a
Wasps.
Oh, they weren't wasps. They were bees. There was a big beehive under the pool thing. Man, 10,000 of these bees, and the bee people came to take it. They couldn't get to it. So the guy had to take oh my gosh. They were swarming everywhere. It was insane. He was wearing the net suit and all that.
Yeah, beehive.
Oh my God. There was all this honeycomb inside the thing, and unbelievable.
I thought it was wasps.
Bees. I thought so too. No, bees. They pollinate. No, I know, Corn Pop. They're great, right? But we got dogs, and my pool guy went in there to open the thing, and it's right in the filter. It's right there. And when he hit it, they came flying out at him. He got stung. Oh, I feel so bad for him. He got stung, and but yeah, so we can't leave it in there. I'd love to leave it in there because the yard looks great. All the fruit, the trees, everything looks great.
They pollinate very well.
Oh man, my beautiful wife made burgers for dinner. I'm blessed. You are, William.
You don't know how much you're blessed.
Oh gosh. So everybody's laughing at Rhonda's. That was funny. That's hilarious. Bees do good shit. Yeah, I know they do. I just, like I said, I couldn't. My brother had a giant hive in the walls of his house, man. That scares me. I wouldn't want to have bees. We had a beehive in the attic of an apartment building when I was a kid. So
I know a guy here that has beehives in Florida here. They have Tupelo honey here. And what he does is he has these beehives set on farms. and he goes and collects every year. He goes out there and collects the honey at a certain time of the year when the season comes. And he's got like 80 employees, and they all wear these beehive suits, nets and everything, where they can't get stung. But some of the people I talk to that actually go out there, they tell me that they don't get stung at all. The bees are so used to the way they move, they're used to them, so they don't have a problem.
That's nuts. So back to Chicago and New York.
Back
What do
to
you think,
Chicago,
Brad?
New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
Family.
One of the other things I was going to bring up about New York,
Yeah.
that's different than Chicago, is you can't ignore law enforcement. But in Chicago, they have police districts. In New York, they have precincts,
Okay.
precinct number. And, that was something I always got a kick out of on Hill Street Blues, because they had precinct, and it was really done in Chicago. It was district. So that was a big difference. And our precincts were precinct captains and different precincts for voting. They were political. They had nothing to do with the law enforcement at all. But there's a lot of things that are very different in New York, other than the pizza. I don't want to go too far on that one.
Pizza, no. There, no. Who used more bombs, New York or Chicago? I don't know, Red. Bombs?
I think Chicago did, because I remember different people that used them when they had the taxi cab wars. It was Jimmy Couture, and they called him Jimmy the Bomber Couture.
Right.
I don't know how many taxi cabs he bombed, thousands.
Yeah, the taxi cab wars in Chicago.
That was way back when.
Yeah, that's early 1900s.
And as far as after that, I know of at least 24 ones, including Ray Ryan, who Marshall Cafano allegedly bombed his car in Evansville, Indiana. And one that Frank Collada talked about, where him and Mikey Switek set the bomb underneath the guy's car. I don't know. Chicago, it seems like I didn't see that many bombs in Chicago, car bombs anyway, or bombs, period. And then theaters got bombed in Chicago.
Wait a second. Pizza wars? What was this about? Don Berlin, Chicago, correct, Red. The Chicago Pizza Wars, too, in the western suburbs. Pizza War in Chicago parlay all bombs in Chicago. Were they bombing each other's pizza joints?
Probably.
Geez, I never even heard about that. That's new.
They've had different things go on like that in fights for years. Jim Magnifici worked at Area 5 homicide.
On a couple of cases when I was a PO.
Police officer.
Oh.
Jim, that Area 5 included the 13th District, which is Grand and Ogden. And we were very familiar with Area 5.
Speaking of car bombs, Lewis Cole wants to know who gave the green light for the car bomb on Lefty. We've talked about this before, Lewis. In the best you can come up with, talked to Gary Jenkins about it.
I don't think anybody gave the green light. I think somebody just did it. There was no real boss that said, I want that done.
You don't think it was Nick Sevilla?
It could have been him, but it wasn't like he talked to everybody else that was involved in the scam.
See, they
all put their heads together.
Found out Lefty was an informant.
Right.
Because we didn't know that until 2016, FBI.
For a fact.
Yeah. And so they were like, oh, yeah, that's our boy Achilles. Didn't know till then. So maybe back then something was, who knows? Kansas, Rick Charlton. See, Kansas. It's got to be. Don Berlin, Chicago had several pizza parlors owned by Outfit that went kaboomski, I think in the early 80s. Okay, yeah. I got to look into that. It sounds very interesting. Rhonda Moretti, best bombing was the trucking guy who had the remote control bomb under his car.
There were a lot of them.
Trucking guy who had a remote control.
They're talking about the Union guy that had his car blown up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of his name. Cagnoni.
Right.
That wasn't really, there were a lot of them like that. I mean, that I know of. There really were, Rhonda.
A New York guy was going to blow up a bus. Momo burned his lips on the tailpipe. Oh, that's funny. Look, that's funny. Momo burned his lips on the tailpipe. The only bombs I remember in Chicago, what are the gut bombs from White Castles? Oh, the gut bombs. Jesus. Now, Jimmy Balcastro was a famous early bomber, a good friend of Jimmy Couture. They called him the Mad Bomber. Really?
Yes.
Balcastro, Jimmy Balcastro. That's a new name for me. I never heard that name.
That's correct. I've heard of it.
Oh, fudge.
Ryan Brown.
As far as the bombings in New York, I only know the bomb that killed Frank DiCio. Frank DiCio, right?
Right.
They killed Frank DiCio, and they attempted to kill John Gotti as revenge for killing Paul Castellano, Vincent Gigante.
Gigante. Vinny the Chin.
Gigante.
Vinny the Chin ordered it.
Dare I read this other one? Anyway, Don Berlin. Here, Don Berlin. All right. The Cirincione, God, the Cirincione family, the Cirincione family, Cirincione family.
I think it's
pizza
only on the end because I can't pronounce it.
Chirone. Oh man, I'm telling you, it's Chirone. Chirchini. All right, here it is. DiCio.
DiCico.
Okay, the DiCico. DiCico?
It sounds like Groucho Marx. Chico.
Sure doesn't look like that to me.
I just thought about that and wondered if the Marx Brothers were Italian Jews.
Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Be sure to hit the like button. You guys
Thank you, Billy. Thank you very much.
Speaking of car bombs, Sean Pender's favorite drink is an Irish car bomb. He likes that Guinness. What is that? Guinness? What do you drop into that? Jameson? I think it's Jameson. Shot of whiskey into the Guinness beer. Yeah.
I'm too dated. They didn't have car bombs when I attended bar.
Cirincione, or is it Cirincione?
I think it's
Cirincione, something like that. I'm getting closer. So 57 now. Yeah, guys, hit the button. Groucho Marx buried in Southern California. Corn Pop, Danny Green, the Irishman who was stupid enough to take.
There were bombs in Cleveland.
Yeah. Enjoyed playing.
Hundreds of them.
Yeah, that was that movie Kill the Irishman, right?
Right.
Yeah, Danny Green.
But there was a whole war. You could see it on YouTube. There was a whole war of, you can see the news footage of bombs that went off in Cleveland. And they weren't just from Danny Green, but there were a lot of them there. A lot of them. So there was more, I'd say there was more bombings in Cleveland or Ohio than there were in New York. Definitely more. Definitely more.
Definitely more.
Yeah.
Rayman over here.
Rayman.
Yeah, definitely more. Get my underwear at Kmart. Yeah.
Kmart.
Judge Wapner.
What? 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. 3:30.
I love
3:30.
some Fireball whiskey. Ryan Brown. Yeah, that. Corn Pop. I grew up in Cleveland. Good. Danny Green had balls. Spirit of Justice, The Stigma. I would say that he did. So Adam needs a course in the Rosetta Stone pronunciation of Italian mob family names. I do. I'm telling you. I'm getting better at it, but it's so one day.
Do they make it where you can listen to it like on a CD?
Yeah. They have the old, but I don't know if they do just names. Great movie.
Yeah, what do you do when it comes to a name? I've had friends that went to Sicily, and they told me they couldn't understand the people that lived in different villages in Sicily. From one village to the next, you had to get an interpreter.
Yeah. Kill the Irishman, underrated movie.
Very underrated.
Don't ever start a channel on the Vietnamese mafia, Adam. That's hilarious. You think I'm bad with Italian names? Yeah, give me those. Oh my gosh. Yeah. 200 bombs in one summer, Cleveland, definitely. Yeah. 201 summer?
Yes.
Kevin Jr. No kidding, huh?
Yeah.
And I'm
that
sorry.
That was in the 70s.
Yeah, that's Lewis Cole. Adam was mentioning that Irish drink. Danny Green of Cleveland started bombing attacks on the mob in Cleveland in the early 70s. And yeah, so Danny Green also aligned with Cleveland Mafia guy who went against the family there again. That would never happen in Chicago. Yeah. Oh, yes. Adam needs a producer to tell him what to say. Yeah, I need a producer in my ear reading me these damn names.
I can't believe it. There is a Gianni Russo. I'm a tough guy.
Yeah, there is. We have. Yeah.
Well, you may be a tough guy, Mr. Russo, but I have something to tell you. You're the butt of every joke on this channel.
Bobby Bag of Donuts, he'll do it. I could sit on the phone, put Bobby Bag of Donuts in my ear while I go live, and he can read me the names so I got the right names as I'm doing the show. Hey, we'll try that sometime, Bobby. I'm down. Yep, I'm down. Why not? That would help.
The same way with Spanish. It says
it's same.
Tex-Mex is very different.
Different accents. Spanish to Tex-Mex is way different. Or talking to someone from California in Spanish. Yes, there's different dialects of English.
Oh yeah. Well, even the Spanish language, when you talk about Castilian, and you talk about Cuban, and you talk about Puerto Rican, and you talk about Mexican, they don't really understand each other.
You're right. You're right, Automobile. I should talk like this when I'm saying things on the channel. I had to be a little more like Diane was when she was on. Did you guys see her?
Natural at that?
But she does this all the time. You're talking it. It's so authentic. It's great.
She's herself.
Street Stories. You're finally home. Bobby Bagadonas. Jak się masz?
Anthony.
Bob Zadobje. Bobby Bag of Donuts.
Michael McDonald. What's up, fellas?
Yes.
You got to read, guy. We're almost at the end of our show here.
Yeah, this is the end of it. You believe that? This afternoon's flown by once again. And we got to spin the wheel on the other show.
Yes.
One guy gave away a pizza box. Damn pizza box. Red, that reminds me. I gotta go make pizzas, man. I gotta start cutting out the damn phone.
Well, thank you for joining me, Adam. Thank you for joining all of us. And thank all of you people that came by. God bless every one of you. And I'll be doing a podcast on Monday, wishing everybody a happy 4th of July. Monday is 4th of July, if I'm not mistaken. And hope you enjoy it. Have a safe weekend. If you're going to play with fireworks, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. Hey, Red.
My advice is don't play with them, but if you do, don't hurt yourself, please.
Hey, Red.
And for you folks that are speaking English, talk to somebody from England or Scotland, you're right.
Exactly. Okay, so Red, I'm going to take us out and see you later. Have a great day.
You too. God bless all of you.
God bless.